Hello everyone, welcome you all to the course on Corporate Law and Governance. In today's video, we are going to look at the classification of companies. Based on the liability, we classify the companies into company limited by shares, company limited by guarantee and unlimited company. First, let us look at company limited by shares. Company limited by shares, it is this type of company structure is followed by the companies which are profit oriented. If we look at the liability of the members in such type of company, it is limited to the amount of unpaid nominal value of the shares, if any, held by the members. In case the members have paid up the share amount fully, then they will not be liable for any of the obligation of the company at the time of its winding up. And if we look at these types of company, the profits are shared with the members by way of dividend. If we see in the real life examples, Reliance Industries, Wipro, Infosys are some of the examples for company limited by shares. Then we have company limited by guarantee. This type of company structure is popularly followed by those companies which are not profit oriented, like the charitable organization. In these types of companies, the share capitals are normally contributed not by the members, but they are normally got through the subscription or by way of financial grant by the government or through donation. And the examples that we have for company limited by guarantee, we have FICCI, the CIA, that is Confederation of Indian Industries. If we look at the liability of the members under company limited by guarantee, here the liability of the members are limited to the amount that the members guarantee in the memorandum of association, and this liability will occur only when the company goes for its winding up. In case the company, the members have contributed to the share capital at the time of the inception of the company, then the liability of the members would be dual. In the sense, the members would be liable for the amount that they have guaranteed in the memorandum of association, as well as to the extent of the unpaid amount of the nominal value of the shares, if any, yes, with them at the time of the winding up of the company. And the members' liability would be limited as long as the company is in existence. It becomes limited by guarantee only when the company goes for its winding up. And normally these types of companies do not share the profit with the members. The profit the company makes would be reinvested in the company itself. The third type what we have is the unlimited company. In the case of unlimited company, the liability of the members would be unlimited, in the sense they would be liable for all the obligations and the liability of the company. This unlimited feature comes into the picture only when the company goes for its winding up. This unlimited company is not a very popular structure that are followed by the companies. Next, we move on to the classification of the companies based on the members. Based on the members, we classify the companies into one-person company, small company, private company, as well as public company. Let's look at one-person company. The name itself suggests that there is only one member in this company. This kind of structure is been allowed in order to encourage entrepreneurship among the citizens and also to corporatize the business. There is only one member here, but the member should nominate another person in the memorandum of association at the time of the incorporation of the company. This nominee would be taking over the company if the member dies or becomes incapable of entering into the contract. And this consent from the nominee to be submitted in the prescribed format to the registrars of the company. The nominee can refuse the consent or they can withdraw their consent at any time. In case the nominee withdraws, the same should be informed by the member to the company, and the company in turn will intimate the registrar of companies. A person who acts as the nominee cannot be a nominee in any other one-person company. Similarly, the member who has started this one-person company cannot start another one-person company. And one-person company is a private company. Then we have the small company. Small company is also a private company. So, in the case of small company, the paid up share capital should not exceed 50 lakh rupees and their sales turnover should not exceed 2 crore rupees. Since it's a private company, they cannot invite the public to subscribe to the share capital of the company. We have the private company. In the case of private company, the minimum share capital should be 1 lakh rupees. There should be a minimum of 2 members and the maximum number of members should be 200. If we look at the directors, there should be minimum of 2 directors and the maximum of 15 directors. And this private company's share capital is not freely transferable. The reason being, the private company cannot raise money from the public, in the sense they cannot invite the public to subscribe to their share capital. And if we look at the examples, DHL is one of the example for the private company in India. Lifestyle International is another example that we have for the private company. Let's move on to the next type, which is a public company. Public company should have a minimum paid up share capital of 5 lakh rupee. The minimum number of members should be 7 and the maximum is unlimited. The minimum number of directors should be 3 and the maximum is 15. Any subsidiary of the public company would also be called as a public company. And if we look at this public company, the shares are freely transferable, in the sense the public company can invite the public to subscribe to their share capital, and they can list their shares in the stock market. They can raise money through the initial public offering. The examples for public company in India, we have Wipro, Infosys. These are all some of the Reliance Industries. These are all some of the examples that we have for the public company. Since when we looked at the private company, we saw like the shares are not freely transferable and they cannot invite money from the public. That doesn't mean that The private company has a limit on the number of shareholders. They don't have any limit on the number of shareholders. They can have any number of shareholders as such, but only thing they cannot invite money from the public. Next, we move on to the classification of the company based on control. Based on control, we have holding and subsidiary company and the associate company. Holding company is that company which has the substantial control over in the composition of the board of directors of another company. When we say the control over the composition of the board of directors, what we mean here is the holding company can appoint or remove majority or all of the directors of the subsidiary company on their own without getting any kind of approval from the subsidiary company. And moreover, the holding company will have more than 50% of the voting power in the subsidiary company. If we look at it, for instance, company A has control over the composition of board of directors in company B, then it means that company A is the holding company and the company B is the subsidiary company. Company A can appoint and remove majority or all of the directors of company B without getting approval from the company B. If company A is going to hold more than 50% of the voting power in company B, that means company A is the holding company and company B is the subsidiary company. The next type what we have is the associate company. In the case of associate company, one company has a significant influence over another company. What is this significant influence? It means that one company has more than 20% of the share capital in another company and their shareholding should not exceed 50%. Associate company is not a subsidiary company. Sometimes the significant influence could be due to the agreement between two companies where one company can take the decisions for another company. So joint ventures also come under the associate company. Example, we have Tata AIG, Tata Docomo, or if you look at it, all these fall under associate company where there is a joint venture between Tata and Docomo, Tata and AIG. In the case of holding and subsidiary company, we can see the example of Reliance, where Reliance Industries have different subsidiary companies. We have Reliance Retail, Reliance Footprints, Reliance iStore. These are all the examples of the subsidiary companies of Reliance. Next, we move on to the classification of the company based on the access to the capital market. Here we have listed company and the unlisted company. Listed companies are those companies who can list their shares in the recognized stock exchange in India. So all the public company can list their shares in the stock market and these shares are freely transferable. The money can be raised in the primary market through initial public offering. Further trading would happen in the secondary market. In the case of unlisted company, the company cannot raise money by listing their shares in the stock market. All the private companies will come under unlisted company where the shares are not freely transferable. Next, we move on to the other companies where we have the government company, foreign company, Section 8 companies, dormant company, Nidhi companies and public financial institutions. Government company. In the case of government company, the central government or the state government or central government and state government together hold 51% or more of the share capital in the company. So, in the case of government company, the central government on its own or the state governments on their own or central government with the state government should hold more than 51% of the share capital. Example, we have ONGC, we have BHEL. These are all the examples of the government company. In the case of government company, the directors are appointed by the government. The government appoints the auditors to audit the financial statements of the company, and the government company should present their annual report in the parliament at the end of every financial year. Then we have the foreign company. Foreign company is that company which has been incorporated by the company law of their country of origin, but they have their operation in India. They may operate on their own or through their agents, or what they can do is they can exist in the physical form or they can operate through the online channels. We have many foreign companies operating in India. We have Hyundai, Ernst & Young, Accenture, yes, we have McDonald's. These are all the examples of foreign company. Next, we move on to Section 8 companies. Section 8 companies are those companies that have been formed in order to achieve specific objectives, in the sense in order to promote the specific objectives like promotion of education, research or social service, science. It can be anything, but it has been formed in order to achieve a specific objective. Example for the Section 8 companies are we have Federation of Indian Chamber of Commerce, Confederation of Indian Industries, UNICEF. All these are the examples of Section 8 companies. Section 8 companies need not have limited attached to their name, and they are not supposed to share the profit with the members by way of dividend. Instead, they will have to invest again in the company in order to achieve the objective for which the company has been formed. In case the Section 8 companies fail to follow the norms, then they may be asked to wind up their company, or they may be asked to amalgamate with another company with similar objective, or they may be asked to change their company structure from Section 8 company. Next, we move on to dormant company. Dormant company is that company which has been formed with a specific objective of holding an asset like the patents or the intellectual property, or it may be for the purpose of a future project. Inactive companies also fall under the dormant company. Normally, dormant companies do not have any kind of business operation, and they do not have any financial transactions happening. So, these companies have to register themselves with the registrar of the companies as dormant company. Next, we move on to Nidhi companies. Nidhi companies have been formed with the objective of promoting thrift and saving among its members. Nidhi companies accept deposits from the members, and they also lend money to their members. There should be minimum of 7 members, and the maximum number of members that Nidhi company can have is unlimited. The number of directors that the Nidhi company can have is 3, and the maximum is 15. But within the 1 year of their incorporation, the number of members should be 200 or more. Similarly, the net owned funds of Nidhi company within 1 year of its inception or the incorporation, it should be rupees 10 lakh or more. What is this net owned funds? Net owned funds are the equity share capital plus the free reserves minus the accumulated losses minus the intangible assets. Next, we move on to public financial institutions. Public financial institutions are formed by the special acts of the government. Life Insurance Corporation of India, Industrial Development and Finance Company, any specifically referred companies as per the Unit Trust of India Act 2002, any institution notified by the central government, any other institutions notified by the central government along in consultation with Reserve Bank of India, all fall under the public financial institutions. Next, we are going to look at the key managerial personnel as per the Companies Act 2013. As per the Companies Act 2013, the following are considered to be the key managerial personnel: the Chief Executive Officer, the Managing Director, Company Secretary, Whole-time Director, Chief Financial Officer, or any other officer that's been designated by the board as key managerial personnel, but only condition is that that position should not be more than 1 level below the directors of the particular company. Let's look at the Chief Executive Officer. The Companies Act 2013 says that anyone who has been designated to act as Chief Executive Officer would be considered as the Chief Executive Officer of the company. The Companies Act 2013 doesn't talk about the qualifications that the Chief Executive Officer should have. Any person can become the Chief Executive Officer. It is a little different from the Managing Director. If a person wants to be the Managing Director of a company, the person should be the director of the company, should be one of the directors in the board. Only that person is allowed to be the Managing Director. And to act as the Managing Director, approval from the shareholders are must. And if we look at this Managing Director position, it is a statutory position. Why it's a statutory position? The reason being, if you look at Schedule 5, Section 196, 197 and 203 of the Companies Act 2013, it actually talks about the roles, responsibilities and the appointment of the Managing Director. So, the Managing Director has a statutory role to play, and they can be appointed only after getting the approval from the shareholders, unlike the Chief Executive Officer, where any individual can be the Chief Executive Officer of the company. Even the Managing Director can act as the Chief Executive Officer. Then we have the Company Secretary. So, anyone who has been designated to act as the Company Secretary would be known as the Company Secretary of the company. But here there is a requirement with respect to the qualification that the company secretary should have. Yes, as per the Companies Act 2013, if somebody wants to act as the company secretary, then they should be member of the Institute of Company Secretaries of India. Then only they can act as the company secretary. We have the whole-time director. There should be a whole-time director, yes, and this whole-time director should hold the position for a period of 5 years. Then we have the chief financial officer. Any individual who has been designated to act as the chief financial officer can be called as the chief financial officer. The Companies Act does not talk about the qualification or the roles and responsibilities of the chief financial officer, but in general the chief financial officer is expected to take care of the preparation of the financial reports and reporting the financial performance of the company, and they should take care of the risk management in the company. Whatever be the position, like the chief executive officer or the company secretary or the whole-time director, chief financial officer, these key managerial position should definitely be there for any listed company or any company which has a paid up share capital of 10 crore or more. It is mandatory for these companies to have these key managerial positions like the chief executive officer, managing director, company secretary, whole-time director, and the chief financial officer. And it is mandatory for the companies to submit the key managerial personnel list to SEBI, yes, Securities Exchange Board of India. So it is mandatory to do that. In case any of the managerial personnel resigns, then the company should appoint another person within 6 months from the date of resignation of the key managerial personnel. Thanks for listening.